Hello and welcome. This is Grant Hughes of Grant Hughes Investigates on YouTube. This channel evaluates all aspects of true crime. As you are aware, videos and live streams in this genre often discuss elements of crime that may be disturbing to some viewers. If necessary, take the precautions needed to avoid these feelings. Factual information related to cases is the key to fostering rational true crime discussions. Fortunately, you will find that here. Please hit the like button only once, share the video, and subscribe if you like my content. Thank you very much for watching.
Correct.
Huh? It's a house!
Have you lost the last 3 brain cells, or do you just have cabbage for brains? There's mosquitoes the size of bald eagles in that dadgum swamp.
Hey, what's going on, freaks? I've got to fix something really quick. Just a second. The screen will go dark for 1 second, maybe 3. There we go. All right. Alright, came on a little earlier. The video's already up. I mean, it's there on the site, but it's not, it's not active or anything, but you can see it. So, what do you guys think? Shit. Okay, first I'll start a poll question. Alright, that's the first one. Poll question right out of the gate, man. Engaging the brain. Hey, Kubi, you're not green anymore. What happened? Anonymity, Patricia, Grizo, Kubi, Nani, not, Lori Man, Neil, Christiane, Lori Lovelace. Lori Lovelace. Sounds like somebody from yesteryear. Julie Ann, Gigi, Christy M. Let's see, middle finger. Hey, look at that, Bogart. 2 months, all right. Wow, you got that many? I think it's going to be, I think it's like a conclusion that he'll accept it. As long as he's convinced that Kohberger wasn't coerced into doing it. Oh, I meant plea. Is that what did I say that wrong? Let me end this one. Hold on. Yeah, that was stupid. Sorry about that. My brain is. This is really early for me. Let me try another one. Thank you. Let's see. Will the judge accept the plea deal? Now, he's not going to get any appeals. Alright, there you go. That's the question I meant to ask. Thank you for noticing that. Yeah, does it? Well, only 2 of the families out of the 4 are the ones that wanted to go through all the way through. The other 2 are happy for, not happy, but, wanted to do the deal. Yeah, I'm on the side of, like, with Steve Gonzalez's opinion on it is how I would be too. However, I can see the side of the other parents. All right? I mean, just think about it like this. Let's say you went to trial, and then you see all these, the family has to see all the gory crime scene photos, and then it goes through all the trial, and then he's convicted, and let's say he's found guilty, but then the jury doesn't decide. It's like 11-1 on death, and he doesn't get the death penalty, so he gets life without parole. But as many appeals as he, just appeal after appeal after appeal, he can just go on and on and on, and then there'll be like, just all the time, and then all of a sudden, maybe some weird judge gets in there and goes, yeah, that sounds great. Now he doesn't get, but this deal is the same outcome as that, except there's no chance of even appealing, so he just is in there. So basically what it is that your people, getting him the death penalty is the most important thing, even though it means that it takes up 30 years of your life, going back and forth to court hearings, etc., etc., etc. I don't know. What do you guys think about that? I mean, I understand the desire to. That's what I would want to do. But in reality, what's more like healthier for the people, I guess? I don't know, man. It's really kind of a... Oh, there's Amber right there. I think this drive... Hey, Amber, that big tree that you were talking about, wasn't it on that alternate route that I came up with? Because that's what I have on the screen right here. So look at... That's the A&W, you guys. Here, I'll show you. So the A&W is right here on the map. And you remember how he comes in like this on the... on Steiner Avenue, and then onto Lauder, and then comes up and around, and then into the complex, I call it. There's only one way in and one way out. You come in, you can go around like this, and then you have to go out that direction. You guys remember that? Alright, so that's where it starts. But look how, I think this 360-degree camera is just so awesome. I mean, here, look at this. So that's the A&W, right? So you can look at it like that if you want to, but then you can flip it around to the front and sort of see what everything looked like. Isn't that crazy? I mean, what's cooler than that? Here, I'll make it full screen. Look at this. Right there, there's the Ridge Road camera. There was one on this side and one on this side over here as he drove up. And then in a minute, the vehicle will be on Taylor Avenue. In just a second, right there. That's it. Isn't that crazy how there's a height difference on those two roads too, right there? And then he makes it around this corner. And then second here, this is going to be Linda Lane coming up here on the next block. Right there. That's Linda Lane camera. That's Band Field right over there. That's Sigma Chi. Right there. And then the vehicle would have turned onto King Road. This is basically imitating the entrance. Alright, and there is 1112 King Road picking up the vehicle as it drives in. That's 1119 back there. That's 1112, it's gone. I mean, 1122 King Road, I mean. And then now we're behind 500 Queen Road. And this is around the back. See, that's what it looks like that. That's so cool. And that's where the house used to be, right there, if you remember. And if you guys want to buy me some coffees this morning, that'd be great, with the coffee Thanks, Christy B. Appreciate it. This is it exiting. You know, you can pretend it's going at a high rate of speed. Isn't that crazy? Look at that. I mean, it's just absolutely insane, I think. I heard on, like, the Nancy Grace had a podcast, and they were saying that there was blood of Xana on the stairs. I don't know where he would hear that or anything, but that's what he mentioned. I'm not sure what to make of that. So this is the alternate route that home that I think he could have taken. It takes about, it eats up a lot of that time of the 48, well, when he shows up in Blaine near 448. So this is him leaving now. This is how he went. Normally he would have stayed left right there, or went on Paradise Drive right here, but he didn't ever go that direction like that. Thanks, Shay 530. Happy Make Kohberger Cry Day. This is how he left, by the way. This is just daytime. If you guys haven't seen it, you'll be able to see the whole thing. I've mapped it all out. This is the third time I went there. I didn't even have to stop and consult a map. It just shows you that when Kohberger went there 23 different times, he knew exactly how to get to wherever he was going because he had been there so many times. Yeah, the thing is, in this, the plea deal, I see from both sides. I think he deserves, without a doubt, the death penalty. And by the way, what was my quote last night when I looked into the camera about the Kohbergers? I can't even remember it when I woke up. Maybe I remember it. You know, but I think I was like, "You are idiots." I don't know how anybody could have saw him as not being... Yeah, 23 times apparently he was within 100 meters, they said. That's the other direction over there, and now we're going this way. They must be building up a community over there. What do you mean he could profit? Who? Did I say that? Did I say he could profit? I don't remember saying that. I mean, but I think if he writes a book, if the money should go to restitution for the families. I mean, that book would make millions, so... Hey, thanks, Miss P and Patricia Griza. I don't remember saying he could profit. Alright, so this is right there is how you get to Linda Lane, not Linda Lane, Indian Hills Drive is right over there. So you drive through there, and so he kind of kept everything in a little circle here. But see, I go right through this intersection, and I'll show you. Remember my route that I have where I go way out, like the one that goes down here and around and all the way down like this, and then through Blaine and comes out on 95. That's the one I'm doing right now. And it's crazy out there, man. It looks like a... Hey, thanks, Lottle Mama. What does LOTL stand for? Laugh at the something. Yeah, I don't do the fake news over here. And I'll show you. We do have it. It's queued up over here. It's right there. And see, it's live in 65 minutes. I know. I hope he does reject it. Just out of pure, I want to know the facts of the case. The facts are going to come out, you guys. Whether it's piecemeal or however it works. I think the Idaho would redeem itself a little bit if they had a massive press conference that lasted for 3 hours and they went over all the details of the case, presenting everything on video, providing it to the public on an easily accessible site where you can download it all and have it, etc. That's what they need to do. If they don't do that, then they absolutely just screwed everybody over. Hey, but what was my quote last night? Anybody remember when I looked into the camera and I said, I don't know. Hey, wow, thanks, Teresa. Sorry, pro-burgers, you were wrong and dumb. No, I mean, honest to God, you're the people who thought Bryan Kohberger was innocent were using zero brain. It's like, if you just looked at it as a casual observer and went through the information that was out there, you go, oh yeah, jeez. So you have to do mental gymnastics. Hey, look, isn't that amazing out there? Look at that. So it's almost like you can make a video just with this, with music, you know? Look at that. Yes, this is the back route that I think he may have taken, and that puts him on Highway 95 at like 4:48. Right around that time. Depends on how quickly you drive, etc. Amber was in the car with me when we did this right here, by the way. I know. It's wild, though. And here's the best part about it. Oh, that's interesting. Let's see. I mean, this, I think it, like, every cop car should have this on it, on the top of it. Don't you think? You just have it hooked up to a battery and record your entire, every night, and then you can go back through, and if you need to, you can stop and look. I mean, it's just crazy. Well, Karen Reed was way, I think it was a lot more, I mean, a lot of really crappy police stuff going on in that one. So it's, you know, that one you can easily see people thinking a certain way. You know, I didn't follow it as well as other people. I covered one element of it, and I thought that the headlight, the rear light looked like it was already broken before it backed into the car, that slight little nudge of the car, because when it pulled away there was nothing there. It was on the ground. And then, you know, so I don't know. That's the only thing I looked at. But I got held just for saying that, so, you know, it's not worth covering that one. Alright, so we're on that back route right now, probably somewhere, let's see, we turned right here, and we're kind of coming down. I think we stay out there, like that. I think I'm driving slow because I'm not exactly sure, but we made it, we were on the right track. The knife should be part of the, I know. I think the knife should be, if you don't present the knife, where the knife is, a full account of what happened that night, then there's no plea deal. It's just that, it's plain and simple. He needs to say it so it's on record too, and that way, if you get some crazy judge in the future, everybody has the right of an appeal, gee, and they start bawling and they overturn the no appeal option, then that will be on record and there's no escaping. Oh, well, how did you know where the knife was? How did you know where? Well, I'll tell you what, it was Brent Kohberger. He told me where it was before he got shot. It was absolutely crazy. We had dinner one time, and that's the Kohbergers. Now this is a it's called a Insta360 X5 with I have a bicycle, a pole mount with a 1/4-inch screw at the bottom that goes onto a bicycle mount, and I put it on top of my rack on top of my car. But you have to admit, like, and it films 30 minutes straight. It's crazy. The file sizes are like 28 gigabytes, by the way. But it's so pretty out there. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. Look at it. Really amazing, really expensive homes out in this general area here. But I think he may have done this drive. I think Amber's tree's coming up in here. But look where you could have put the knife anywhere. What if you just pulled over, for example? I mean, this is how simple it is for a killer, right? You could just pull over, maybe just off where that tree is, dig a hole about 4 inches deep, put the knife in there, whatever else you want to put in there. I mean, not deep, but 4 inches wide, maybe 2 feet deep. Put it in there, fill it up with dirt, put some stuff on top of it, a rock, and you just would never find it. There's no way in hell you would ever find it. Now, in a place like this, maybe you'd see a trail going over there, but it just, I mean, you could put it anywhere along this road and nobody would ever find it. As long as you made it look natural and you don't have your cell phone on. Came back the next day. So, yeah, I mean, I was thinking about it. It's not a bad idea. Like a place that sticks out, that you know where it is, but police would have no idea where you were because your phone wasn't on. So you could easily go find the location again. I do get worried like a big bug will smash right into the camera while but you could still see from the backside. No, we actually went to Wawaway Park. I have that drive too, from Clarkston. So if you drive, you can drive from Clarkston to Wawaway Park. And so maybe that's where he went. But I doubt he would do that. I mean, why would you go to a park where there's possibly other people to throw? I think he may have tossed the knife into the river somewhere near Wawaway Park. So that, the pinging data, at some point, might look like something. Hey, thank you, Cheryl Moran. Good morning. We also had Teresa up there. Sorry, Kohbergers, you were so wrong. I don't know if anybody's putting in my quote from last night, but somebody said it should be on a t-shirt, and I can't remember what it was. Alright, now we should be at the bottom of we're probably, let's see. Came in like this, around, down, And I think we're probably somewhere around in this area at this point. It's crazy out there, though. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful, too? Like, look at the yellow. We were just amazed, me and Amber. Like at the yellow. That's exactly what it looked like. That bright like that. I mean, it might even look brighter in person, to be honest with you. But it's amazing out here. This is just outside of town. Oh yeah, so what was it again? Hold on. The quote was... Oh. Well, what was it, Paul? Hey, thanks, ANCIS True Crime and Artworks 2. Great, thank you for your excellent analysis and thank you for your hard work throughout the case. Hey, no problem. You know, I'm gonna still, I want to get to the bottom of what actually happened, so I'll still be making videos on, you know, now the guilt portion isn't in question, which it's never been to us. I mean, I've never, well, you never know if he'll be found guilty, but the knowing that he did it has never been in question after the probable cause came out to me, because that was already so damning that it was just unreal. And then when the surveillance footage started coming out, oh boy, that made it worse. All right, so that was what's another poll question? Let's see, let me do another one. I'll have to go back and try to find that quote. Will Kohberger have to give details of what happened and where he put the knife? Alright, there we go. Hey, thanks, Lee Matthews. This video is incredible. Thanks so much. Tragedy is a beautiful part of the country, and a beautiful so much tragedy in a beautiful part of the country. So cowardly to destroy the lives of positive people engaged in life. The opposite of BK. I'll probably make this smaller. Let me. Oops. All right. Oh yeah, that was it, wasn't it? Well, I was thinking, wasn't that your, maybe that wasn't your tree though, was it? I think we passed it just back there, maybe. Hold on. It was right there, wasn't it? Like one of these things, or it was something like that, Amber. I think. I don't know. I don't remember. Oh yeah, there it is. If you are a pro-burger, you are an idiot. And you can't take that. Yeah, and you can take that to the bank. That's right. Woo, that was a good one. Oh, Jesus. My God. There it is. Man, that light just went shooting in my face. Thank you, Camden Edwards, who gifted a membership to Shannon K. So this takes you, with the speed that I was driving, it takes you out to Highway 95 in like 27 minutes, but it was already 2 minutes into the clock, so I would get there at about 4:45, the pace that I was driving. So he might have had a more casual route, and he might have even wasted some time, like we think, at looking at the police station. After he pulled away at a high rate of speed, he knows that the cops aren't going to be driving through the neighborhood, especially where the view of the police station is, and you can just watch and see if there's activity, like, oh my God, a 911 call was made. So he might have done that for 2 or 3 minutes and then did this drive. Don't know, but it kind of explains the possibility of where is 48, why he gets to Blaine at 4:48. Because he should have been there at 4:32. And so no, 62% say no. Hey, thanks, CR. Appreciate that. Alright, I'll end that poll. It seems like when I started playing this, a lot of people left. I thought this would be interesting to people. You know, have it playing while we're talking or whatever. And I can always turn down the background there. He won't show emotions or remorse. He is a control. Yeah, he's just gonna have that same look that he always has, you know. He doesn't really do anything. He just stares at the just stares forward almost. It's kind of weird. Makes you dizzy just looking at that? Weird. It's just a video of car driving. Driving footage is great. Beautiful country. Yeah, now we're down to 781. We're up to 900 and something. It's like the more I play it, the less people are here. He's a psychopath. Does anyone else remember in the early days about a dog? Yeah, we were talking about that. There was something like he's driving out in the country and a dog was barking at an unusual hour out here somewhere. So that'd be interesting, right? What if it was this route? Are these the trees right here, Amber? I don't remember where your lone trees were. But my car was so dirty when I got home. Man, it was just brutal. Did you guys hear that though on Nancy Grace? They were talking to Joseph Scott Morgan and he mentioned something about there was blood on the stairway of Xana, and then she got tracked down to the room and attacked there. I don't know. I don't know where he would get that information from. Yeah, so it's amazing that, like somebody said above, like there was evil in this beautiful place. You know, even in the winter, it's amazing looking. He wants the victims' families and the video and the whole community to suffer. So many little things coming out and no idea if true or not. Yeah. Oh yeah, and then they actually, Hunter and Emily, the girlfriend, they were interviewed, but they didn't really say, they were interviewed like a day ago before the plea. I mean, it was weird, because you could tell by the wording of the person interviewing them, and but they didn't really give any details or anything. Now I'm going to be playing it. It's, here it is right here, you guys. Looks like this. It's got 46 more minutes, and until then, this will just keep looking like this right here. I mean, if you want me, I can just put it up in the corner so you feel comfortable. You know, maybe up there like that, I guess, for now. So Nancy Grace got that info from Dateline. That suggested Xana went Madison Mogan, and well, no, I don't know if she got it from Dateline, because Dateline didn't mention blood on the stairway. Hey, thanks, Mrs. Ryan. Is that what she said? She got it from Dateline? Now we're getting close to Highway 95. It's coming up. I would like to have heard the testimony from the surviving roommates. Yeah. Well, I'm sure they'll come forward at some point too. They're probably gonna have to get paid. Like I mean, like whoever makes a documentary on it and gets them to say something. And I think it's stupid when people care that they had to pay them. Like the person making the documentary is making a ton of money. So why shouldn't, you know, the people that are making your documentary make that, you know, get money? Like if Dylan Mortensen and Bethany Funk got paid to tell their story, you know, good for them. It's like, you know, the person making the documentary nobody complains about. Except my channel. Whenever I make a video, you know, you get the troll central showing up. Oh yeah, right there, huh? You just live right over here? I think he may have driven this exact route. You know, we don't know for certain, but this is one that's pretty easy to stay on, and that would show why he showed up on Highway 95 at 448. But again, you guys are looking at a 360-degree camera, so we can look behind. You can look over here, anywhere you want to. What does allocution mean? I think it just means he has to. Well, I guess we could look up the word, you know, if you want to get the technical meaning. Allocution is a formal statement made by a defendant in court before sentencing, often to express remorse or explain mitigating circumstances. It's a defendant's opportunity to address the judge directly before the sentence is imposed. This statement is distinct from a guilty plea colloquy and allows the defendant to humanize themselves. So I don't know if that's what he's going to get. I guess we'll have to see. Yeah, he doesn't have any remorse. This is what he has. Yeah! That doesn't look like remorse. Anybody have any poll question ideas? Nah, that's not what it said. I just read what allocution was. I just read to you what it said, what it meant. Hello, Lillian. He's recognized he's not human since a teenager. Yeah. You know, my thing is I think he was going to be a serial killer. I don't think anybody has any doubt about that. But he seems like almost like a mimicking of a serial killer. Like he's somebody that's, ooh, I studied about it. Let me grab some of this and some of that. And you know, he didn't come up, he's not his own. The only thing that was his own was using the K-bar knife. Well, that wasn't even his own because Danny Rolling used that. And guess what? Danny Rolling went through sliding glass doors into houses of college students and killed them with a K-bar knife. Boy, that sounds familiar. And he would go after the guy first. Let's see. That overpass wasn't there when the highway. Yeah. I still think he has killed before. Yeah, I don't know. He could have. Yeah, I mean, I just think this whole drive here is a place he could have done it. I mean, I don't know, so it's just speculation. But see how it made it all the way to Highway 95. Blaine was back there a little bit. We drove through it, and then there's also, I think, where was that? I don't remember if that's a cell tower. There's a cell tower right around here somewhere, big one. That was my first poll question. I already asked that. Gene, up above. Where would he have killed before? Yeah, I just don't think he would have killed before. I think this is his first time. He did all his studying. He did all his research. I think he even practiced. Maybe those 2 ID cards were from other people that he broke into their houses. Was really pleased with himself. Probably came home and went, yeah, again, because he was able to get into the house while they were sleeping, take the ID cards, and then he realized, okay, now I can do my master plan. Yeah, I just think this is his first time. He was going to become a serial killer. I don't know. I know people talk about that skinning the dog because it's like a cliche for serial killers to start killing animals first, and then they it's true, some of them. We don't know though. It seems like his dad would know a lot more though, doesn't it? I think that's what they were talking about too on one of the interviews yesterday. Steve Gonzalez going inside the courthouse, likely to spare himself from ringing, is going inside the courthouse. Why is that? How would that spare him from anything? I don't get it. If he's going in the courthouse, doesn't that give him a better chance? Wrote that Steve Gonzalez. Oh, is not going. He didn't say is. I missed that part. His motives are obviously thrill, curiosity. He was budding serial killer. Oh yeah, and I think this is from there. I think we're going to Clarkston now. Oh yeah, see, look there's Costco. See, there's the Costco that he went to down there. And see, I'll have all this. Once the information comes out, we can just put it all together. This is down in Clarkston. So camera picked him up, parking probably over here. And then he tried to get into the front of Costco over here. And they didn't let him in. So he got kicked out of there, and he went back to his car, and then he left. So this is where they have him on camera. Later in the, like around noon to 1 o'clock. Closer to 1, I think. The cool thing is, if you were wearing goggles when I put this on YouTube, you'd be able to look around on your own. Like you'd be almost like you're sitting in a car, and you could turn to your left. So now we're heading to Kate's Cup of Joe. You guys have all heard of that, right? Put out another statement harshly criticizing Thompson. Came out a few minutes ago. All right, let me get that. That was Kate's Cup of Joe on the right there. Right that back there, that building. And apparently he did like a U-turn right here, and that's the chef's store. And he drives back this direction and then heads over to Albertsons. Let's see. 2 hours ago, right here, right now, we dig our heels into the earth and carve a line deep in the dirt. This ain't justice, no justice presided, no jury weighed the truth. Thompson robbed us of our day in court, no negotiations, no jury of our peers, not even the pretense of cooperation and fairness. Cowardly men, gutless men, man, jeez. Cowardly men, gutless men, they scatter like roaches when the battle closes in. And Thompson, he's retiring on this deal, his shadow slithering towards the exit, leaving only the stench of his betrayal. No spine, no shred of honor. He didn't have the basic decency to plain human courage, or the plain, let me start that over. No spine, no shred of honor. He didn't have the basic decency, the plain human courage to face the families, to meet our eyes and ask, how do we make an offer that works? Instead, Thompson cut his deal with the devil. His negotiations didn't require anything other than a simple guilty plea, allowing him the leeway to blame the same people you are paid to protect. You betrayed us, Thompson. Your deal fails to shield the innocent. You could have stood tall and made damn sure the blame stayed where it belongs, not on us, not on the broken survivors still carrying the weight of the repeated failures. This is our courtroom now. This stand, our voices rise to every American who listen. We would have provided protection for the roommates, the best friends, the fallen vet, God rest his soul, and every soul affected in our shattered community. We would have carved our terms like sacred commandments etched deep into unyielding granite, a testament to those we've lost and the justice they owed. First, truth, spill it. Bryan Kohberger, every sickening detail only the killer could know, the kind that twists your guts just to hear, but burns even a simpleton pro-burger against you, or turns them against you. Second, you bear the guilt, all of it alone. You don't get to smear the survivors, the ones still waking to nightmares born of your reckless choices. Third, no cashing in on grief, no books, no private interviews with your ex-professor. No one is allowed to study you because you're not special. You don't get to spit on your kids' graves by making this all about you. Only Hitler can step into this void, mend the wreckage Thompson left in Latah's so-called justice system. This is what murder victim families' negotiations look like. It's ugly, it's raw, it's wild, it's anything but easy. Yet you, Mr. Thompson, didn't even bother to negotiate with us. So this is all we have left. There is no more time for us to wait for you to make a stand, so we stand in your place. Kaylee Jade Gonzalez, we love you, baby. You deserve better than this justice system. Your soul is not Thompson's bargaining chip. We do not accept his plea deal signed in your name. We're screaming for you as loud as we can. Kaylee Jade is better than this. This is our last shot. Judge Hippler, you are our only hope. You are our only hope that our child's murder isn't granted control over his destiny in our children's names. You take control of this deal and make it right, because now you own it. Wow, that's pretty, geez, you know, that's strong right there. I sure as hell hope the judge does something. And that's why I've been saying, the only way that this can be somewhat okay is if we hear in great detail every single thing that happened. And I think the Latah County prosecutors need to put together a massive PDF file laying out the entire case in order and include videos with it and make it available for anybody to have on anywhere to see, so they know the reality of Bryan the Nutjob Kohberger. All right. Wow, that's crazy. Well, if you guys want to buy me a coffee this morning, that'd be great. We got the we got this coffee link here. We got super chats, whatever the hell it is. Let's see, what do we got? We start here in 28 minutes and 59 seconds, right there. So this is in Clarkston. Did you guys see when we went to Albertsons and all that on the stream there? Well, I mean, I'm streaming whatever this stream is. Hopefully there'll be other people. I mean, I guess on Twitter maybe there's reactions, or I don't know where the reactions would be if you guys want to send me links, etc. But we're watching the hearing here. I know. I was saying last night, I went over an example of how the judge should talk to Bryan Kohberger. He'd say, Bryan, I want to make sure. Now let's go over the details of this case. Did you choose, you know, like ask him questions like, why did you move to Pullman, Washington? And then dig into that. And when you purchased the balaclava and the K-bar knife on Amazon, did you purchase those items to be used in a homicide in the future? And then just keep moving forward, and then have them go all the way to, like, you know, did you drive around the house? I mean, you could just go on and on. I would just keep going on in the greatest details. You know, when did you choose? Let's see. When did you choose that house or a victim inside of that house? And who was the victim? Well, Your Honor, it was Madison Mogan. All right. So after you picked Madison Mogan, how did you get ready for the eventual homicides? And then you might say, well, I would drive out there, because we know that you drove out there many times. Can you explain that? And then he would go on and explain that. And then say, what would you do those times when you drive out? Would you park in that back lot and just stare, or you know, watch and let him explain what he was doing there? And then say, so on that night, and start at the very beginning of the night when he left his house, what route he took, you know, all the different passes he took when he saw the DoorDash driver, etc., etc., etc. I mean, I would just go on and on. I wish I could do the questioning, to be honest with you. Well, that's when he could just say no. Music King, you can't prove that. And I would say, if there's anything that you're telling us in these questions that we know the answer to and you lie, the deal's off. So let's go. That's what I would do. I would actually go through, I would have like 100 questions and side questions and narrow it down, and if he lies on one of them, the deal's off. Except at that point, he's toast. I mean, you'd have to do that behind closed doors. It's almost too late at this point to rescind the plea deal. Yeah, it's already the information's already out there that he's going to accept the plea deal, and it's man, that's probably the most devastating information you could have for future jurors. Right. I mean, I would just go through the whole night. You know, where did you put the knife, etc. What room did you go to? You went to Madison Logan's room first. Is that right? Yes, I did. And have him explain it. Did you leave the knife on purpose, or did it fall off accidentally? Now that's where he could lie and nobody would know the answer. I don't think he wants to tell the truth. I think if he left the knife there intentionally, I hope he does. Doesn't everybody hope that he left that knife there intentionally as a calling card? Because that'll eat away at his soul forever. He would be okay if it fell off in a battle. But if he put it there thinking he was smarter than everybody else, that he wiped all his DNA off and it was clean as a whistle, and he wanted to have it there as a calling card, and he's going to be sitting in his cell for the rest of his life knowing that he's the idiot that got himself caught. Intentionally almost. Hey, thanks, Alicia Nelson. Thanks for all you have done on this case. Well, thank you. And thanks for all of you guys for watching and coming along on the journey. I've got more to do because I got to put together, when we keep hearing different elements, and finally there's going to be a telling of what happened. And we'll have to put that together and, you know, see what we can do with that. And thanks, Christy. Thompson made the survivors and families suffer more with the gag order while people trash Beth. I know. So you made him have a gag order and then you cut a deal. You suck, Thompson. Jesus. Gray, you have the most interesting voice. You've done an awesome job on this case. Well, thank you. I don't think there must be something that I don't sell correctly, because, you know, when people, I get like, sometimes I'll get 700 or 800 people and it doesn't go 900, 1,000, 1,200, 2,000, 2,500, 4,000, 500, and it just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. You know, people watch and they go, oh yeah, I'm gonna go do something else. Hey, it looks like Mount Rushmore over there, doesn't it? Look at that. I mean, it's crazy. That does look like, it's like Mount Rushmore up there, but backwards. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 4 of them. I wonder if they call it that. At least now everyone knows the real killer is behind bars for life. Yep. But look at this whole stretch right here, you guys. How easy would it be at 3 in the morning when you could look behind you and see if there was any headlights at all, or you can look way in front of you and see if there's any, just like the Long Island serial killer. Your phone's not on, you pull over, you chuck a knife in at, well, this wouldn't be in the morning though, this would be, I guess that he couldn't have done it at night, so this would be like at 1 o'clock. You could still look, and if there's no cars, you could just chuck it in the river right there if your phone was off, and there'd be no way of ever finding that thing. You'd have to dredge the entire river. Well, look, it doesn't matter. Kohberger could say today, listen, I know there's people out there that think I didn't do it, but I did do it. I'm not being coerced. They'd say, oh, wow, they got a really big mind control trick going on him. They've got him. They just can't do it. And they'll bring up like MK Ultra. You know how they always do that every single time. All right, anyways, I did a lot of driving, by the way. But Amber was on this whole trip. You just can't hear us because this is outside. Isn't that just nuts, though? I mean, look at that. All cop cars should have this on them. In fact, I think they should wear these on their shoulders instead of body camera, because then you could see later, after the fact, somebody running from behind or where something happened. anyways, let's just kind of get this on the screen and get ready for the shit. Oh man, I'm nervous actually. What about you guys? Let's see. I mean, I guess I'm taking out the video because it seems like it doesn't help my channel for some reason. Let's see. My heart goes out to the victims' families. All of those. Yeah. All the victims' families. All this was so senseless. I wouldn't give him the satisfaction of questions to answer. Oh, hell no, man. Jeez, no way, man. That's not it. I don't agree with that at all. Man. The family and the public need to have the answers, and they want the answers. He owes the answers. I don't care if he gets satisfaction. I don't give a shit about that. At least the family gets answers, and that's really what's more important than, you know, his so-called, ooh, I want to tell my story. But, you know, I see what you're saying. I just don't agree with that. Yeah, I hope to God, what do you guys, I mean, if you think about it, don't you want him to have left that knife sheath there intentionally? You know, the master planner Kohberger who had it all figured out. He cleaned that knife sheath so well, but he missed the one spot underneath the button snap. Something he forgot about. And that's why he still did his thumbs up when he came home. Yeah! Or like this. Yee! Whatever the hell it was. Because he thought he nailed it. He thought he was Mary Lou Retton doing a dismount, tucking back, and oh shit. I left my DNA on the knife sheath. I'm gonna turn. Let's see. After getting whatever information comes out from this, I never want to see his face again. Yeah, and you know what? If he was in a documentary and they interviewed him, you'd watch it. 100%. People don't know what they want anymore. Hey, welcome, Lisa Jane Loudabell. And by the way, obviously we have to start transitioning. I'll still make videos and stuff on this until we get the full answer of what happened. But what, you guys interested in like the Rex Huerman, or what were the other two trials that are coming up? I don't know. I don't really know one of those cases. I know the praying the judge doesn't make it easy for that lowlife. Yeah, I just hope it isn't like yes, 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 no, 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 yes, 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 no, no. Okay, bye. What a joke that would be. And by the way, I don't know if the judge is going to be able to read Steve Gonzalez. I hope he's listening. And he comes up with some sort of... yeah, Stearns. Yeah, Stearns' trial's coming. But is it being streamed somewhere? Okay, we can do Stearns. Okay. We've been covering Stearns from the beginning. I have it all mapped out, everything. Except that's not what this case is about. This trial is just about the his sexual exploitation. Oh god, that ditty. I don't know how that was even interesting to anybody. I mean, I get it. At first, it was sort of like, oh wow, and then it just became a joke. And look what happened. I think the victim impact statements are coming later. That it won't be, but not sure. Yeah. You don't want to do Stearns? Yeah. Well, yeah. I think the trial of Stephen Stearns for the murder would be interesting. just having it all put together. Although it seems like it's what isn't known, by the way. Like, what don't we know? I guess it would be just great to have the whole picture put together. But, I mean, the documents that have come out so far in the discovery is just unbelievable. Very, everything's mapped out. It couldn't be more obvious. They even have the exact GPS and ping location of when he went to put Madeline's body in the woods, or just in that little row of bamboo shoots. I don't know. I don't think he has. No, you don't make these statements at sentencing. I guess you could, right, before sentencing, hoping it'll make a difference. I don't know. I do hope. I have a pretty strong feeling that either today or sentencing, a lot more information will be provided. And one of these two. Because it could be in between sentencing, the judge has time to reflect and read all the, the different concerns people have, and order the courts to do something. Not the courts, order the prosecution team to put together something, or, maybe a question and answer session with Kohberger. Something. All right, everybody go get a coffee or something. I'm going to go get a drink, or I'll put this back on, play this for another minute or two. Huawei. Let's see. Ten minutes. 10 minutes, everybody. Isn't it beautiful out here, though? I mean, look at that. Just. So again, anywhere along here, he could have just chucked it in there. And that would have been like, maybe between, like 1 o'clock and 4:30 or something in the afternoon. All right, getting ready. Thanks for everybody who stopped by and wants to watch it here. Appreciate that. Hey, thanks, Valerie. Very kind. Oh, and thanks, Ted Bundy up there. Can we have a member call in Halloween party on Halloween? Sure. I can do it. You want to dress up as Ted Bundy? Is that what you're saying? Yeah, we're gonna do. We did that once. Remember, Kubi came on. I can't remember what Kubi was. We did it back in, I think, like 2020. It seems like we did a. I think it was on Zoom though, but now I use StreamYard. Yeah, no problem, Kubi. This is crazy though. Yeah, so let's see. If I go like that, what is that? Like that's full monitor. Display capture. Let's see what happens. Okay, that's pretty good. Well, this is going to take up the whole screen now, so. Once it starts. I bet it sounds. What's it sound like on the Kohberger? You guys watch any of those idiots? What are they saying over there? Gray, that's not very nice. How come you call them idiots? Because they technically are. That's the weirdness of it. What is this? There we go. I had to change all the. Oh, there we go. Turn off this, or way down anyway. Okay, court will resume shortly. Holy shit, you guys. Thanks, wise child. I'm turning off anything other than I don't know. I don't even need to have my face on there. Maybe I'll make it really tiny like that. And I'll try to do something where, let me move the screen capture up higher, and then maybe we can do a shot of him zoomed in. It's pretty easy to do. Copy, paste. All right. This is a tragedy to buy time. You know what I was thinking? Is I bet you Ann Taylor gave up on the case 6 months ago, and I bet you she had a conversation with him and said, listen, this isn't looking good. You know, we can try to buy more time. We can try to find some alternate suspects that possibly we could throw in there but it's just not looking good. And they went into that last hearing hoping that something would stick. The 4 darts they threw at the wall of 4 random people that they wanted to be alternate suspects, and none of them hit the dartboard. Then they hoped that the Dateline episode would cause a delay and set it back months because and that didn't work either. And then you could see it in that hearing. I showed it to you guys. We stopped, watched it again, when the judge said it's likely we're going to have the trial when planned, you know, whatever the phrase was. And Ann Taylor looks up like this, and then Kohberger even jolted a little bit, because I think that was the signal to them, our options are now done. And right after that, they tried to convince Kohberger of what it's probably going to take, and then they presented that idea to the prosecution, and I would bet you money that's exactly how it went. I think that's why she doesn't read the video, watch the videos, or read all the documents, because she knows he did it. It's really obvious, and she just gave up, you know. And she should have given up. I mean, the thing is, it's hard not to give up when I want somebody in the chat, when I ask this question, come up with something. Was there ever, what piece of information has come out since all these hearings and everything were public that's helped Bryan Kohberger? That when it came out, you went, oh wow, you know, that's interesting. What? Give me something. I mean, could anybody come up with anything? Just. I never see any answers to that question. The Kohbergers should have tons of them, but they don't either. Yeah, every single hearing, every document that's come out has hurt him worse. Well, thanks, Frank. I try to add some humor and levity to what I do. I remember the first night you covered this, we were working hard to find the killer. I don't remember that. I don't remember. I remember just thinking, yeah, it was weird. We kept watching the grub truck. You know, that one guy seemed sort of interesting at first, but then not really. Like almost immediately after that, I was like, well, he's their friend. Once we saw the video of the saying, what did you say to Adam? I told Adam everything. You know, that video showed that same Jack guy in the background. He's their friend. He's just probably was a friend. That's why he showed up with them. He wasn't lurking behind and kind of. And so it made it obvious that he wasn't related. But the Kohbergers, they had to keep going after that guy for years and years and years. Oh, he took off to Africa on a hunting trip. Man, this guy's a psycho. Yeah, and, you know, and at one time I thought it's a possibility of the boyfriend of Kaylee, never used his name in my video that I made, because they hadn't cleared him, and those phone calls that were made in a big string of calls that he didn't answer. So it seemed like something might be there, and they were looking into that, even according to, like, the Gonzalez's. They were looking into the boyfriend. Then they cleared him, and then I went, okay, forget it. I even took the video off, you know, even though it didn't have his name, I took it off, because once he's cleared, it's an irrelevant video at that point. And so then after that, we are moving, you know, there was nothing. Why what? Why what? Why? Just type the word why in, everybody. That'll get people confused. Can you hear my dog barking? Oh, I gotta shut that door. Hold on. just type in why with not even a question mark, just the word why. I know, I feel the same way. It's like I feel kind of like, oh Jesus, what's happening? What's going to happen here? Hey, thanks, Cam Hart. I finally got paid. I finally, you finally got paid is basically what you're saying. Well, thank you. Well, I mean, I appreciate you supporting the channel. A few shows, they said things I had not heard, but then within that week I found that she was preaching was all made up. Yeah, well, I don't know why you watched it, Notorious Dance. I try to tell everybody out there that I'm one of the few true crime channels that literally tries to just stick with the factual information that's out there and speculate reasonably on the facts once you have them. The rest of them just invent stuff. You know, not all of them. I'm sure there's others, but a huge portion of the, you know, I call them like the crama community, like drama and crime combined. They just make up stuff, and everybody gets all worked up and amped up, and they're really, I think that shouldn't be allowed. It's sort of, there's something weird about it. It's like a, you know, yelling fire in a theater. Well, it's playing right now. This is literally a playing video. See down at the bottom, well, right where I am. Oh wait, excuse me. See right down there? Oh, now I have to hit play again. Here, hold on. Yeah, so that's playing. Should start like right now. Yeah, why don't you guys, for those of you out there, the pro burgers, why don't you go watch this channel? Or not that one, this one. The circus clown out there who's told you guys nothing but lies for the last 3 years. Alright. Yeah, because it has the stop square down there, so that means it's playing. Oh, don't you remember the tunnels underneath the 1122 King Road? Tunnels under there, you guys. Oh, man. And what's funny about that guy is he knows he's tricking his viewers. The actual clown. I mean, there's literally... Isn't a clown the last person in the world that you would trust in a true crime community? But apparently people just love it. Oh. I mean, an actual clown. The only thing he didn't have was one of those big orange noses, okay? Yeah, he was saying that there was tunnels in the city that go underneath that house. And when it was being torn down, there was this darkness where like a cabinet was, and he goes, see, look, there's a tunnel. That was it. Oh, Jesus. My God. They came out of the tunnel inside of the storage room. The room that was used as storage, he came out of a tunnel there. Good job, man. You nailed it. Oh, and another one was, because I made a video about how Kohberger has to be it, and it was so, he couldn't escape it. So he said, well, what if Kohberger was just a peeping Tom looking through the window outside, and he saw the homicides happening, so he took off after that, but he didn't come forward because he thought they would accuse him. Oh, Jesus. God. Okay, how does DNA get on the sheath then? Well, I mean, earlier in the day, maybe that same person shook his hand or something. I mean, I don't know. It's just... Does that seem reasonable? Yeah, who cares if there's tunnels? It doesn't lead underneath 1122 King Road. Jesus. Hey, thanks. Noch in Stefan. Ever since I read it by Stephen King, I don't trust clowns. But we can play it here. Yes, you too can watch Rodeo Clown on YouTube. We're just waiting now. It's any moment, any moment. Yeah, that guy is an absolute fool, Bobby, and he knows it. He knows he was just tricking people the whole time. He thought it would just be able to take a long time, and even if there was a trial, he could still claim something. But now, all of his dreams have been dashed because Kohberger himself is going to admit to doing it because he, in fact, is the killer, everybody. I've been saying this exact sentence for 2 years. That Bryan Kohberger is the killer. There is no doubt. How many times have you guys heard me say that? Where I say, Bryan Kohberger is the killer, everybody. There is no doubt. I mean, I bet you 700 times in these 2 years. Hey, Tracy. Wow, there you are. I haven't seen you in a million years. Good to see you, though. He started following the truth and oh, geez, that person's just horrendous, too. She's good at getting, like, documents, but she twists every one of them into... I don't know why it's late. Whoa! Hey, there's Georgina Stoliker. Everybody put out some prayer hands. She has a big surgery coming up on Friday. So give her some support, some prayer hands for her. Or some hearts, whatever you want to do. Thank you, Georgina. And this account, good to see you all, she said. You want me to refresh it? Oh, hold on. It's not on, it's right there. You made me nervous. Hey, look at all that. All right. Georgina is one of the coolest people, man. You know, on Facebook, she sends me these audio files. She's hilarious. You know. Hey, thanks everybody. That was so nice. He wants to die with his secrets. I don't know. Well, hopefully the judge doesn't allow him to die with his secrets. I would say to him, if anything that you say right now is verified later to be false, the deal is off. But then, how do you take the deal off when he's admitting to doing it, and it's just like there's no recovery for him to find a juror that doesn't know that? It'd be really difficult. Thank you, RDWWDR. Or WD40, as I... Let's see. But it was fun driving around with Amber yesterday, or 2 days ago. She always, like, finished my jokes. Like, I'd say something and she'd, like, finish the sentence or something. It was pretty funny. I think she all these years I've been doing this show, she probably gets my humor. Yeah, no, we if you missed it last night, we got to the my channel has got to the $251,000 mark. We donated $3,000 last night, so out of the income to the channel. So it's we got to the $250,000 given away to true crime related charities, a DNA fund, a scholarship fund. We need another $1,000 for this next month, and we'll be ready to go for another round of scholarship giving. We give 3 $2,000 scholarships out at a time. We don't know if it's not his first, but I just feel like it is his first. I think he was studying, trying to learn about it right up until that time, and then he went for it, and he went, yeah, it was cool. Yeah. But I have a lot of trolls out there that, and people that make videos about me and stuff, and they never mention that part. That, like, on my show, I'll say, hey, everybody, if you could please help support the channel, and it gets frustrating on nights when people aren't supporting the channel, etc., etc., and they always put those little clips out there, but they never talk about the amazing, stuff we've done. I mean, which would really, it just counters that, but they don't want that. They just want the negativity. So appreciate all the people who stick around and help support the channel and allows me to keep doing the shows, but then we also are able, using the ad revenue and the super chats and everything combined, give a tremendous amount of money out. Now, we gave, our biggest year was $65,000 in 2022. That was crazy. I mean, that was like, that was a big one. But that was just been in a 5-year period. So thank you. It's usually you kind of try to do like 30 to 33% or so of the gross income that comes in, which is like, the ad revenue and memberships and super chats. But anyways, enough about that. Yeah, I think he's broke into other. I think he stole those 2 ID cards that he had in his in a glove, or where was it, in a sock or something. I think those he probably broke into somewhere practicing breaking in. Now I'd like to know, did he break in that night on the sliding glass door, and that's why they had to use chairs to lock it, or was it always unlocked and the kids just never fixed it, and he exploited that and went in there? Yeah, that's right, a sock. That's what I thought. When I said glove, it didn't sound right. Didn't Richard Allen put, what did he do? He put the bullet inside of a bullet similar in a keepsake box. Will the sealed evidence and info get released? It should. I think, I would just keep looking at the the only thing I wouldn't put out there are the things like, you can't put out Kohberger's psychological, I don't really give a shit either about his psychological reviews, and you can't put out the information on the 4 alternate suspects, things like that, but any of the investigative conclusions that they made, circumstantial or not, should be released in documents, in my opinion. But I think some of the stuff maybe isn't in documents. Like they are discovery that the defense got, but they're not really like, oh, they were in court documents that weren't, I don't know. Or did he catch Xana while retrieving her DoorDash?
Honorable Stephen Hitler, presiding judge.
Now this is a different look. Yeah, he doesn't look happy.
All right, this is CR 0124316665. Defendant is present in custody with counsel, Ms. Thompson, Ms. Jennings, and, pardon me, Ms. Taylor, Ms. Massoff, and Ms. Barlow. The state's present with Mr. Thompson, Mr. Horowitz, Ms. Jennings, and Mr. Nye is here as well. Am I miss anybody? I'm sorry.
Ms. Allen is here as well.
Ms.
Your
Allen
Honor.
is here as well. Very well, thank you. All right, we are here today to entertain a change of plea. Before I start, I want to address some issues of concern and otherwise. First, I appreciate everybody in attendance today being on their best behavior. Please, no outbursts or demonstrations. Any such conduct will result in immediate removal and may result in an inability to attend further court proceedings in this case. I want to point out that there have been calls by some for the public to contact me and my office in an attempt to influence my decision-making in this case. This has been extraordinarily disruptive for court staff and the ability for them to get work done, not only in this case, but in other cases where defendants are entitled to have their cases processed, and frankly, as important, if not more so, for victims to have their cases processed in those cases. It's also highly inappropriate. A court is not supposed to, and this court will never, take into account public sentiment in making an opinion regarding its judicial decisions in cases. Courts should, and I always will, make decisions based on where the facts and the law lead me. Period. I have not read any of the numerous messages nor listened to any of the numerous voicemails that have been sent to me and my staff. Those have all been forwarded to security and, where appropriate, to law enforcement. I ask that you not continue to mount such campaigns or to send me information like this because, again, it is not appropriate and, frankly, not something I would take into account when deciding a matter in a case like this. I also want people to understand some very basic concepts about the ideas of separation of powers and what the court's duties are and what the duties and the rights of the executive, or in this case, the prosecuting attorney, is. The executive, the elected prosecutor, is the sole authority in deciding what charges to pursue, including whether, as well as what penalties to ask for, and what penalties to pursue, including the death penalty. This court cannot require the prosecutor to seek the death penalty, nor would it be appropriate for this court to attempt to do that. This court, in considering a plea agreement, if it were to reject this plea agreement, cannot force the state to seek the death penalty. My role and power in considering a plea agreement is extremely limited. My role is to ensure that the defendant's plea is given freely, voluntarily, and intelligently. If those things are met, I can only reject a plea, such as the one in this case, where I'm not being asked to agree to the sentence in advance, if I can only reject it, for example, if the defendant does not meet or admit to all of the elements of the crime. That is, I can ensure what is called a factual basis to the plea. Finally, I want to offer my apologies to all the families, including the victims' families, the families of the defendant, for the short notice for today's hearing, and I'm sure what must have been the hurried efforts to get here. I, like most everyone else, learned of this plea agreement Monday afternoon and had no inkling of it beforehand. Prior to that time, I was under the belief that this case was proceeding to trial, as had been indicated, and my staff and I were busy continuing to work on preparations to have potentially 10,000 citizens of Ada County come to jury duty starting in mid-July, with the questionnaire process in mid-July. It was, once I learned of the defendant's decision to change his plea in this case, it was important that I take the plea as soon as possible because of the extraordinary administrative efforts that were otherwise attendant to the process of this getting this trial potentially underway on time, and including the significant process of bringing, again, potentially up to 10,000 jurors to come in and fill out juror questionnaires prior to the beginning of the voir dire process. And so it was important that we, if we're going to go down this road, do so expeditiously so that we can avoid those costs and expenses associated with that. Otherwise, if it was not going to result in a plea, or if for some reason the plea were to fall through today, that we could continue diligently towards trial at the time specified. And so that obviously required that we act quickly, and so some folks may have not had the amount of time that we would otherwise allow for them to travel here. And so, again, I apologize for that. I want to make people aware that during the hearing, if you are to leave the courtroom for any reason, you will not be readmitted during the hearing. Also, when we finish the hearing this morning, I ask that the public and media wait in their seats until the victims' families and the defendants' families and others are escorted out of the courtroom before you start to leave. Finally, I want to acknowledge the trial court administrator and her staff, the Ada County Sheriff, and the Ada County 4th District Marshal Service for the huge lift that they've accomplished in preparing for and orchestrating this hearing today, as well as to all the security attendant today that you see, and some of whom many of whom you don't see, with less than 48 hours notice. And so I appreciate the hard work that they've been doing. Frankly, some of them while they were on some vacation prior to the trial starting and had to call that short. And so I appreciate very much their professionalism and dedication. All right. That said, let's move to the business of today. I understand the state and the defense have reached a plea agreement in this case. For the record, I have a written plea agreement which indicates in sum the defendant will plead guilty to all 5 counts in the indictment, burglary, felony, and first-degree murder, 4 counts. The state and the defendant stipulate, that is, that the defense is not free to argue for a lesser sentence at sentencing to the following. The defendant on the burglary charge will be sentenced to 10 years fixed, and that the defendant on counts 2 through 5, the 4 counts of first-degree homicide, on each count would receive a fixed life sentence, all 5 of those counts to run consecutive to one another. Defendant, as part of the plea agreement, waives his right to appeal as well as his right to appeal the sentence and his right to seek leniency or reconsideration of the sentence under Idaho Criminal Rule 35. This is not a Rule 11 agreement, meaning the court is not bound by the plea agreement and could impose a different lawful sentence at sentencing. The stipulated agreement between the parties is the maximum on each count, so theoretically the only thing the court could do would be a lesser sentence at sentencing. But the defendant is not free to ask the court to do so under the plea agreement. Are there any other material terms of the plea agreement that the parties would like to make? Obviously, the plea agreement, the written plea agreement will speak for itself and be part of the court record.
Not from the state, Your Honor. Thank you.
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right, very well. All right. Ms. Taylor, have you had sufficient time to discuss this case and all of its ramifications with your client?
I have, Your Honor.
Have you discussed fully with him his rights, defenses, and possible consequences to him of the guilty plea?
Yes, Your Honor.
Have you been able to do all the discovery you feel necessary?
Yes, Your Honor.
And have you informed your client of the importance of providing the court truthful and accurate answers in taking this plea today?
I have.
Have you apprised your client of any and all offers and counteroffers and answered his questions about those?
Yes,
Do you consent to the entry of the plea today?
I do.
All right, Mr. Kohberger, I need to ask you some questions this afternoon, or I guess it's this morning still. I do this to ensure that so that I am assured that you understand the nature of the charges to which I understand you're going to plead guilty, as well as the possible consequences to you of your guilty pleas. I want to make sure your plea is given voluntarily, and I want to make sure that you actually committed the crimes to which you're pleading guilty, because I don't want you to plead guilty to a crime you didn't commit. If you attempt to plead guilty today, but for some reason I don't accept your plea, then it is possible that your statements today could be used against you later at trial. Do you understand that?
Yes.
All right, thank you. And now, while you're standing, actually, why don't you take the oath from the clerk?
Please raise your hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you shall give in the matter not given before this court shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
All right, and Mr. Kohberger, just to make it easier, you don't need to stand when you speak to me. I appreciate the sign of respect, but for convenience, you can remain seated, all right? Before I start asking you questions today, have you consumed substantive questions? Let me ask you, have you consumed any alcohol, drug, or other intoxicating substance that would impair your ability to understand or exercise reasonable judgment?
No.
You feel like you are thinking clearly today?
Yes.
All right, I want you to understand what the possible penalties are for each of the crimes to which I understand you're going to offer a guilty plea today. They include, on count one, the burglary, a fine of up to $50,000 and a period of incarceration of up to 10 years in the state penitentiary. You may be required to pay restitution to any victims of the crime. Count 2, 3, 4, and 5 for first-degree murder. The consequences include a fine of up to $50,000, a period of incarceration of life imprisonment, which is a requirement of a sentence, that it be a life sentence with a mandatory minimum sentence of at least 10 years on each of those counts. In addition, you would be potentially responsible for a fine of up to $5,000 to each of the victims of your crime, to be enforced in the form of a civil judgment, to operate as additional punishment. This is in excess of any restitution or fines that the court could order. And again, you may be required to pay restitution to the victims of the crime. You would be required to provide, as to counts 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, a DNA sample and a right thumbprint impression, and potentially pay for analysis of those samples. You would lose any right to possess, purchase, or carry a firearm, the right to serve on jury duty, the right to hold public office, and the right to vote. Do you understand the charges and all those possible consequences?
Yes.
You've heard the plea agreement that I talked about today. Do you agree with that plea agreement?
Yes.
And do you understand the nature of the charges that you've been charged with that I understand you're going to plead guilty today to?
Yes.
As as I indicated, I'm not bound by the plea agreement, but the plea agreement is for the maximum on each count. Do you understand that I'm not bound by the plea agreement?
Yes.
Has anyone promised you that I would be lenient or easy on you if you pled guilty?
No.
Has anyone threatened you or anyone close to you to get you to plead guilty?
No.
Has anyone, other than the state's agreements with respect to the plea agreement, has anyone promised you anything in exchange for your plea agreement?
No.
Has anyone told you to be untruthful in answering my questions today?
No.
Has anyone offered you a reward of any kind other than the plea agreement in order to get you to plead guilty today?
No.
Are you pleading guilty because you are guilty?
Yes.
And counsel, obviously there have been a number of motions filed to suppress evidence in this case. Other than those filed, are there any other motions that you felt were available with respect to Rule 12?
No, Your Honor.
And Mr. Kohberger, you understand that by entering the guilty plea in this case, you would be giving up your right to appeal any decision this court made, as well as your sentence.
Yes.
Have you had enough time to decide whether or not to plead guilty?
Yes.
Are you pleading guilty freely and voluntarily?
Yes.
Given your choices, do you believe it's in your best interest to plead guilty?
Yes.
Have you discussed fully the matter of pleading guilty with your attorney, and are you satisfied with the advice you've received?
Yes.
Has your attorney advised you to your satisfaction about what your rights are, what your defenses may be, and what the possible consequences to you of your guilty plea are?
Yes.
Has your attorney done everything you've asked them to do?
Yes.
Are you satisfied with their representation of you?
Yes.
I have received a written guilty plea advisory questionnaire that is purported to be filled out by you. Did you fill that document out?
Yes.
Did you understand the questions that you answered in this document?
Yes.
And are the answers that are outlined in this document your answers?
Yes.
Are those answers truthful?
Yes.
Did you sign the document?
Yes.
And this document outlines many of the rights that you have in this case should you not plead guilty. Did you understand those rights?
Yes.
They include a right to a jury trial. Do you understand that?
Yes.
They include a right to the presumption of innocence. Do you understand that?
Yes.
You have the right to require the state to prove your guilt as to each element beyond a reasonable doubt. Do you understand that?
Yes.
They include a right to confront your accusers and cross-examine witnesses presented by the state, including by utilizing the subpoena power of the court to accomplish that. Do you understand that?
Yes.
You understand you would have a privilege against self-incrimination and a right to remain silent, meaning you would not be compelled to testify if you did not wish to, had you not pled guilty.
Yes.
You understand you're giving up that privilege and those rights that I've just outlined by pleading guilty.
Yes.
All right, I want you to understand what the state would have had to have proven at trial had you, to the crimes that you're pleading guilty to, had you, if you didn't plead guilty. Let me find the document. Hang on a second here. All right. So as to count one burglary, the state would have to have proven that on or about November 13, 2022 in Latah County, Idaho, you unlawfully entered a residence located at 1122 King Road in Moscow, Idaho, with the intent to commit the felony crime of murder. As to count two, the state would have had to have proven that on or about that same date in Latah County, Idaho, you did willfully, unlawfully, deliberately, with premeditation and malice aforethought, kill and murder Madison Mogen, a human being, by stabbing Madison Mogen, from which she died. As to count three, the state would have had to have proven that on that same date in Latah County, at that same address, you did willfully, unlawfully, deliberately, with premeditation and malice aforethought, kill and murder Kaylee Gonzalez, a human being, by stabbing her, from which she died. As to count four, the state would have had to have proven that on or about that same date in Latah County, Idaho, you did willfully, unlawfully, deliberately, with premeditation and malice aforethought, kill and murder Xana Kernodle, a human being, by stabbing her, from which she died. And then as to count five, also murder in the first degree, that on or about November 13th, 2022, in Latah County, Idaho, you did willfully, unlawfully, deliberately, with premeditation and malice aforethought, kill and murder Ethan Chapin, a human being, by stabbing him, from which he died. Do you understand those things the state would have had to have proven?
Yes.
And do you understand that by pleading guilty, the state no longer has to prove those things because you're admitting those things are true?
Yes.
I want to also make, for the record, the defendant has provided with the guilty plea advisory form a document entitled Written Factual Basis that purports to have the defendant's signature dated 1 July 2025. Did you sign that document?
Yes.
And did you agree with the written factual basis that is included there?
Yes.
And then let me ask you, did you, on November 13th, 2022, enter the residence at 1122 King Road in Moscow, Idaho, with the intent to commit the felony crime of murder?
Yes.
Did you, on November 13th, 2022, in Latah County, state of Idaho, kill and murder Madison Mogen, a human being?
Yes.
And did you do that willfully, unlawfully, deliberately, and with premeditation and malice aforethought?
Yes.
Did you, on or about that same date in Moscow, Idaho, kill and murder Kaylee Gonzalez, a human being?
Yes.
And did you do that willfully, unlawfully, deliberately, and with premeditation and malice aforethought?
Yes.
And did you, on that same date in Moscow, Idaho, kill and murder Xana Kernodle, a human being?
Yes.
And did you do that willfully, unlawfully, deliberately, with premeditation and malice aforethought?
Yes.
And then on or about November 13th, 2022, again in Latah County, Idaho, did you kill and murder Ethan Chapin, a human being?
Yes.
Did you do that willfully, unlawfully, deliberately, with premeditation and malice aforethought?
Yes.
I would ask the state at this time to provide its recitation of its factual basis had this case gone to trial.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, the organization of the recitation is different than what I think the court and the public may be familiar with from the probable cause affidavit and other documents. The state's evidence, as an overview, would show that back in March of 2022, when the defendant was residing in his parents' residence or was residing back in Pennsylvania, his home state, he purchased online a K-bar knife and sheath with an Amazon gift card that he had purchased shortly prior to the purchase of the knife, sheath, and sharpener. Jumping ahead, the end of June of that year, the defendant, Mr. Kohberger, moved from Pennsylvania to Pullman, Washington, which is right across the state line from Moscow, Idaho, for the purpose of pursuing a PhD in criminal justice at Washington State University. The state's evidence would indicate that beginning July 9th of 2022, Mr. Kohberger's phone began connecting to a cell tower that serves the area of the 1122 King Road residence in Moscow, Idaho. Now, I will acknowledge for the court and all present that there are many residences in that area. It's a dense population of mostly college-related occupants. Between July 9th of 2022 and November 7th, the defendant's phone connected to that particular tower during late night, early morning hours, 10 p.m. to 4 a.m., on approximately 23 times. Now, I will acknowledge also we do not have evidence that the defendant had direct contact with 1122 or with residents of 1122, but we can put his phone in that area on those times. In the interim, on August 22nd of 2022, Lake Tahoe County Sheriff's Deputy Darren Duke conducted a traffic stop in the early morning hour or late evening hours, about 11 p.m. On the west side of Moscow, on the Moscow-Pullman Road. This was a traffic stop of Mr. Kohberger's car, which turned out to be a 2015 white Hyundai Elantra with Pennsylvania plates. During the course of the traffic stop, Deputy Duke was able to obtain Mr. Kohberger's name, Bryan Kohberger, his phone number, and his address, which at that point was an apartment address in Pullman. We then move to the early morning hours of November 13th, 2022. The state's evidence would show that early morning hours on that day, Mr. Kohberger's phone left his Pullman residence, which is an apartment in kind of the central northwest part of Pullman. That phone was then subsequently turned off at approximately 2:54 a.m. and remained off until approximately 4:48 a.m. on Sunday, the 13th of November. The state includes, would include at trial, video surveillance of a business on the Moscow-Pullman Highway just across the state line from Moscow that would show a vehicle matching the description of the defendant's Hyundai Elantra entering Moscow at approximately 3:02 a.m. Compiled surveillance that the investigators put together from businesses and residents then show the defendant's car, the white Elantra, as I've described, circling the 1122 King Road area, that neighborhood, starting around 3:30 or so in the morning. Comes into the immediate area of 1122 King Road, which is actually on a dead end, and then leaves several times. And approximately 4:05 that morning, the defense car had entered that area, was leaving, stopped at the intersection of King and Queen Road, did a U-turn, and the state's evidence would show that the defendant's car came back and parked behind and above the 1122 King Road residence. The state believes that its evidence would then show that the defendant entered the residence of 1122 through the kitchen sliding door on the back side of the residence, which is the side of the residence that would face the area above where the defendant's car was parked. The defendant entered the residence, went to the third floor, and with a knife, killed Madison Mogan and Kaylee Gonzalez. The defendant, as he left that room, for whatever reason, ended up leaving, or the sheath for a K-bar knife was left on the bed next to Madison Mogan's body. And I can jump ahead. That sheath was tested by the Idaho State Police Forensic Lab, and single-source male DNA was found on the snap of that sheath, as well as blood from both Kaylee and Madison and other trace evidence. But it's important to note single-source male DNA was on the snap of that sheath. The state's evidence would show that Xana Knodel was still awake at this time. In fact, had taken a DoorDash order not long before this started. Her room was not on the third floor. It was on the second floor on the west side. As the defendant was either coming down the stairs or leaving, he encountered Xana, and he ended up killing her, also with a large knife. Ethan Chapin, Xana's boyfriend, was asleep in their bedroom, in her bedroom, and the defendant killed him as well with a large fixed-blade knife. Each victim suffered multiple wounds. I will state for the record that there is no evidence there was any sexual component or sexual assault on any of the victims. I want to make that clear so there's no speculation. There were 2 other roommates in the house, and they were already asleep. During the course of this, one of those roommates awoke, looked out her door not knowing what was going on, and saw the defendant, who was dressed in black with a black balaclava on, holding some sort of container in his hand. And she saw him leave the house through the direction of the kitchen where that sliding door is that I mentioned before. At approximately 4:20 that morning, so this would have been 15 minutes or so later, the defendant's car is seen on a surveillance camera for 1112 King Road, which is immediately next door to the west of 1122, leaving the area at a high rate of speed. And if the court were to see that, or anybody in this courtroom were to see that, you can see the car almost loses control as it makes the corner, heads north, and then turns to go south on Walenta, which is one of the only ways to get out of that part of town. The evidence would show that following that, the defendant in his Elantra drove south of Moscow. We know that he drove on the back roads because there are surveillance cameras on the main highways, Highway 95, that would have picked up the defendant's car if he'd gone that route. And they did not show the defendant's car on that route during the time. So we know that he went through a variety of back roads in very rural, isolated part of Latah County. About 4:48 that morning, the defendant's phone comes back on. And the evidence will show that that phone was located south of Moscow, likely at a side road intersection with Highway 95. From there, the defendant's phone activity tracks it heading back north towards Pullman, Washington, where the defendant lived. About 5:26, starting approximately 5:26, various surveillance cameras in Pullman, Washington pick up the defendant's vehicle as he enters Pullman from the south and heads north and slightly west towards his apartment, where he arrived at approximately 5:30 in the morning. Later that morning, Sunday, the 13th of November of 2022, Mr. Kohberger's phone returned to the area of King Road. We don't know exactly what he did, but it returned to that area. It's about 9 o'clock in the morning. He was there for about 10 minutes and then returned to his Pullman residence. About 9:30, the state's evidence will show, evidence taken from the defendant's phone, that he took a selfie of himself on his phone in what appears to be the bathroom of his Pullman apartment with a thumbs up. The defendant's phone then went to the Lewiston-Clarkston Valley, approximately 30 miles south of Moscow and Pullman. And the defendant is actually seen with his car at various businesses down there. This area is the confluence of the Clearwater River and the Snake River. Lewiston is Idaho's seaport. Large bodies of moving water down there. In addition to tracing the defendant's activities, as I've just outlined, on the 13th and leading up to the 13th, the state's evidence will show that following Sunday, November 13th of 2022, business records show that the defendant began searching for a K-bar knife and a K-bar knife sheath, as the state believes, to replace the one that was left at the scene of the murders. The evidence also will suggest that there were at least attempts by the defendant to delete or alter his purchase history on Amazon, where all these transactions had occurred. Later that week, the state's evidence will show that Mr. Kohberger went to what we would call DMV, motor vehicle licensing here in Idaho, in Pullman, to change his car registration from Pennsylvania to Washington. That's of note because Pennsylvania cars do not require a front license plate. The vehicles seen on the surveillance cameras of the defendant's car showed it didn't have a front license plate on it. At the time of the traffic stop by Deputy Duke in August, it was Pennsylvania plate, no front license plate. Mr. Kohberger proceeded to finish his semester of studies at Washington State University and returned to Pennsylvania for the holidays. Law enforcement at this point were aware of Mr. Kohberger, had been accessing information about him, were trying to find him. They located him in Pennsylvania, and they conducted what's called a trash pull. During the nighttime hours, agents of the FBI, who assisted immensely with this case, working with the sanitation department back in this neighborhood in Pennsylvania, took trash that had been set out on the street for collection, sent the contents of that from the Pennsylvania residence of the defendant's parents to the Idaho State Forensic Laboratory, where the lab experts there were able to identify DNA on a Q-tip as coming from the father of the person whose DNA was found on the knife sheath that was next to Madison Mogen's body in the bed. Subsequently, an arrest warrant was issued here in Idaho, and a search warrant was issued in the state of Pennsylvania with the assistance not only of the FBI, but the Pennsylvania State Police. Mr. Kohberger was arrested at his parents' home to return to Idaho. Upon his return to Idaho, a DNA sample was taken from him, and it matched the DNA found on the knife sheath next to Maddie's body at the crime scene. I can tell the court and the public the weapon itself, the knife, has not yet been recovered. I can tell the court that the defendant's apartment in Pullman was searched, as well as his office. Spartan would be a kind characterization. There was virtually nothing there. Nothing of evidentiary value was found. And of course, we are now talking 6-8 weeks after the time of the killings. In Pennsylvania, the defendant's car was seized, and it was actually pretty much disassembled internally. And it also had been cleaned. There was a bucket of cleaner right beside it. I think we can all look to our own cars, you know, in those compartments in the doors. We try to keep them clean where you put stuff. There's always some degree of crud in there. They were spotless. The defendant's car had been meticulously cleaned inside. And the state would present to the jury that that was part of the defendant's plan in covering up this. The defendant has studied crime. In fact, he did a detailed paper on crime scene processing when he was working on his pre-doctorate degrees, and he had that knowledge and skill. So, Your Honor, at the end, the state submits that the evidence that I've given just a quick overview of, and that to present in court would consume weeks, which the state is prepared to do and has been prepared to do, would show that as the defendant has just admitted and pleaded guilty on November 13th, 2022, Mr. Kohberger entered the residence at 1122 King Road in Moscow, Idaho. He did that with the intent to kill. We will not represent that he intended to commit all of the murders that he did that night, but we know that that is what resulted, and that he then killed intentionally, willfully, deliberately, with premeditation, and with malice forethought, Maddie Mogen, Kaylee Gonzalez, Ethan Chapin, and Santa Cruz. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. All right, based on the state's proffer and importantly based upon defendant's explicit admission to committing these crimes, the court finds there is a factual basis. Therefore, with respect to count 1, burglary, felony, how do you plead, Mr. Kohberger, guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
As to count 2, murder in the first degree as it relates to the murder of Madison Mogen, how do you plead, guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
As to count 3, as it relates to murder in the first degree for the murder of Kaylee Gonzalez, how do you plead, guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
As to count 4, the first-degree murder of Xana Kernodle, a human being, how do you plead, guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
As to count 5, the first-degree murder of Ethan Chapin, a human being. How do you plead, guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
Right. The court will find that the defendant understands the nature of the charges and each offense and the possible consequences to him of his guilty plea. The court finds that there is a factual basis for the plea and finds the defendant believes the plea to be in his best interest. I find that the plea was given freely, voluntarily, and was intelligently made. I accept the plea. I direct that it be entered. I'll continue the matter for sentencing in this case. I think it was mentioned on the call Monday afternoon the defense wishes to waive a pretrial investigation. Is that accurate?
Yes, Your Honor.
The state also?
Yes, Your Honor. The state does not believe pre-sentence investigation is needed given the evidence that is available. We want to, though, make sure that all of the victims have the opportunity to make statements to the court at sentencing.
Absolutely. And certainly both the state and the defense may present whatever sentencing memorandum and other documents you wish me to consider. The victims will be given an opportunity to provide the statements that they wish to at sentencing. Do we need more than one full day for sentencing?
I do not believe so, Your Honor. Obviously, we have numerous victims, and we have victims who share unique perspectives on this, and we want to make sure that they all have time to express their feelings to the court. But I believe that if we can start perhaps 8:30 or so in the morning, that we should be able to complete it all in one day.
Defense agree with that in terms of the time frame?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. So as it happens, we have some time reserved in this case in July and August. The week of July 22nd is available. I don't know if that's too soon for the parties, or the next week, the week of August 4, is available. Any preference?
Your Honor, we're prepared as soon as the court wants to schedule it.
The state, I believe, would be prepared on the 22nd. Right. We've told the victims' families that we're looking at approximately those dates.
All right. So because of the plan to bring in so many jurors to fill out questionnaires, I had ordered that no other trials could take place in this courthouse the week of July 22nd. And so we will use that in terms of the sentencing date because of what I'm sure will be the significant interest of the media and the public and the logistics that will be required to make that happen. Without trials going, it'll be a lot easier to do that. So let's pick that week. Why don't we pick July 23rd with the idea that if for some reason we don't finish, we could continue into the 24th. We'll start at 9 in the morning. Does that give your team enough time, Sandra? 9 in the morning? All right. Any concerns with that date?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
No, sir.
All right. Any reason why I should not rescind the non-dissemination order at this time?
You're right. I think that given the history of this case, it would be best if that remained in place through sentencing, so we have time to make sure there's the ability to completely answer questions. That would be the state's preference and recommendation.
We'd have no objection for the order to remain in place through sentencing.
All right, I will, at this point, the idea to keep it until sentencing, which time it would be withdrawn in order to give the parties the space and time to prepare to meet what I'm sure will be the deluge of media requests. That's at least my preliminary decision at this point. We can always revisit if it seems to be, for some reason, I should. That said. Obviously, I don't think the defendant, a bond was ever set for the defendant. Were it would be revoked. The prior order allowing him to come in civilian clothes is revoked given his plea and no longer the presumption of innocence. And in fact, now the actual conviction for the crimes. He will continue to be held at the jail pending sentencing. Is there anything else today?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
I assume that the trial date will be vacated
trial
and those
is-
4 jurors will be released.
The trial will be vacated, and I'm sure that the jury commissioner will get word to those that receive their summons that they won't be required to attend. So,
Thank you, Your Honor.
that said, again, if you would all please wait for the parties and the victims' families and others to leave the courtroom before you do, I would appreciate it. And with that, we're adjourned.
All right, please. Well, there you go, everybody. I mean, I don't know. Obviously, there's probably other information that they have out there, you know. But man, I have to say that I'm proud of my investigations over the last 2 years, putting the pieces of the puzzle together. It sounded almost as if exactly I actually have said exactly the same thing in the same order on other shows and videos. It's pretty crazy. But yeah, see, that's what happens when you use logic and common sense wins the day almost every single time, and you put it together. And if you happen to show up to my show earlier, maybe we can show it again right now that it's more interesting. All right, let's go to this last one over here. I think it's this one. Now, this video here actually shows the route that I think he took after the homicide. Okay? And I don't know why the judge didn't just step in and say, "Do you know where, can you tell us where the knife is?" And see what he says. Just have him say something. But you guys want to watch this now with a different eye? I mean, you can see it. And we'll look at the time on the clock. I'll tell you when to start counting. And you can pretend it's 4:20 and 47 seconds. Hey, thanks, everybody. I mean, that was amazing. I mean, even my animation, excuse me, following the Dateline episode is pretty close to what they're saying. And, you know, the only reason it's first degree... Oh, wait, let me get a different screen on here. Sorry, I'm looking at the wrong... This one right here. Yeah. So this one... There you go. Oh, why is it turning around? Hold on, I know why. I have this thing over here. To delete the pin there. Okay, go back to there. Yeah, so here we go. This let me just start this over again. You guys want me to go through this again? At least this first part. This is the A&W that it passed. It actually came from that direction over there on Steiner. And then it drove up like this on I think this is, I forgot the name of what it switches over to, Lauder, I think. And then right there, that's the camera that picked him up. Right there and right there. He didn't mention that a camera picked him up missing a front license plate. We had more detail than what he put in there. And then it drove over here, and then it turns on Taylor Avenue right here. This would be when it got there. And if you guys want to help support the channel, that'd be great too. You know, we need the coffees. We just hit the $250,000 in true crime related charities yesterday. Actually, 251,000 total since January 2020. Part of when people are supporting the channel goes to that. Also, the channel. There's Banfield right there. There is Sigma Chi. And then here you would be turning onto King Road right here. So this is when he, this is just pretend it's dark outside. This is when he entered in the first time. All right. And they even said that he parked behind there and everything. I mean, everything's exactly right. I wish he had mentioned about the DoorDash driver, things like that. We'll get to hear all that stuff later. But and he had a lot more notes with him. He just kind of skipped around. You could tell he had like a binder He should have done the whole thing. Right, and this is where he drove, right back here, you guys. Alright, so then maybe somebody write it down on a clock. Look at a clock right now. And then right when it's pulling away, you start... actually, I know, not from there. I'll show you when to do it. Alright, so when the car takes off at the end of the night, you know, obviously it did 3 more loops in between there. When the vehicle got right here, that's when the camera right up there picked it up driving. Now I gotta get rid of this stupid... If you right click, it creates a key. So I gotta go back. Hold on. Yeah, so now we're back behind there again. What the hell's going on? Jesus. Alright, then it pulls up when it's driving out. Let me just pause it right where the camera picks it up at 4:20 and 47 seconds right here. Right there. Now I had another route too that he could have taken a long time ago that puts him out south of that, which is similar, and I drove that one time as well, a long time ago. But right here is when the lights show up, and that's when they start recording. So right now, I have 2 minutes and 41 seconds on the clock here. So you can pretend that 2 minutes and 41 seconds is 4:20 and 47 seconds. Thanks, Cebu. And see, this is what it did. It drove right around up here. This is going north on Willanta Drive. And the way he got out of there was after he drove up here. I should probably put this in a video or something. Right here, turn left. Thanks, John Barrett. Looks like they went back to the @ names again, not the usernames. Alright, and then coming up here, instead of going on its normal routes that it would take when it was looping around, I'll show you. Right here, it would stay left. But when he left that night, he would go down this street right here, and then he'd take a right on Conestoga, which is the next one. Interestingly, if you take that left right there, it takes you to a view of the police station. It's crazy. You can just see it clearly. Now that one right there to the left. Not that left, that first one I showed you, the second one. It's actually Conestoga. If you take left on Conestoga, you can see the police station, and then leave on Conestoga. I mean, I think he planned it out that much. Hey, thanks, Dave Mack. I'm not sure what you're saying when you just say behind the house. I don't know what that means. Yeah. I think during the homicides he probably parked either behind the house or right down the side of the house there. But he would have had to park lower to be seen by the DoorDash driver near the parking area. Except we don't have any verification of that. Hopefully she shows up in an interview somewhere. Nah, I don't want to show the one of the guy trying to take my phone. I don't really give a shit. It's not interesting. We don't have the video of the DoorDash car driving around. My God, where do these questions come from? Alright, so right here, he makes his way to Palouse River Drive. And so far, we're like almost like 3 minutes into the drive at this point. So the probable cause document, when they wrote it, they had him going down Highway 95. But they've since changed that because he doesn't show up on specific surveillance cameras that Ann Taylor pointed out. So Kohberger, like he'd done all night long, and drives into these crazy routes. I even identified a crazy route that he took from Pullman. When he went southeast on Nevada Street, he went winding around so he could come out onto the highway undetected prior to that. Anyways, so instead of taking a right here on 95, he goes straight all the way down. I mean, I see that everybody's leaving, so I'm not gonna waste my time doing this. So I'm gonna go all the way to the end here. So this is like near the end, and now we're at 26 minutes, and maybe I'll make a video with on here. It always sucks when you put a lot of effort in and people go, okay, this isn't as important, I gotta go listen to something else. So all the way to the end here. This is where Highway 195 is, and this is, let's see, this is here in 27:31, so 25 minutes, almost exactly from when it left. So if you add 25 to 4:20 and 47 seconds, you get almost 2:46, and his phone pinged near Blaine at 2:48. Right, so if you just drove a little slower or whatever, it puts you out right at this time. Right. Anyways, I think I'm going to call it a show. Thank you to Michelle, Christy, Banana, Patricia Grizo, Misdemeanor, Lot Mama, and then we had Teresa and Cheryl, both with cat eyes, and then Ann CIS, Artwork, CR123, and Leah Matthews, and then Candy Nedwards, and Jart Vader, Candy Edwards again, then CR123, Maria, she gifted 5 memberships, CR did, thank you, and then Mrs. Ryan, Jan Hansen, Ted Bundy, Alicia, they changed all the names back to the @ crap again, it's hard, and then Lisa J, Teresa, Ted Bundy, Cheetah, Wise Child, Cam Hart, Nach ein Steifen, Tracy 888, Georgina Stoliker with the cat eye, and you guys all gave her your prayer hands, and then this account, RDWWDR 3520, Charadubi 1194, Nach ein Steifen, KMTX 78, Cebu 35, John Barrett, Davin Mack, Whiskey Boots, and Van Dandale. Anyways, I hope you guys, when you're watching today, and the ones that have watched my channel throughout this entire process, you have some appreciation for the way we do things over here. Absolutely nailed it. I mean, it seems like, what's different? I don't think there was anything that was in there that I went, oh wow. It was like it's the same thing, the exact order of everything. They must have had a whole bunch of details that would augment and sort of back up what they were saying, but pretty cool. But anyways, thanks everybody for being here, and we will see you guys later this evening. Maybe we'll discuss some of the reactions and different comments people made, all right? So thanks for being here, and as I always say, until next time, be safe out there. Yeah, I've been doing this true crime thing for quite a while now. And during this whole time, I have not seen one person that is a crime dissector, thug rejector. I'm a certified human lie detector. Gonna get ya on a stretcher if you try and play me like an old projector. Crime sector is my nectar. Professor Gray is gonna give another lecture. Crime collector, freak connector, and I'm always gonna be a pup protector. Fool deflector, interceptor, cleaner than a spectre with a vector on his pector. With all respect, ya, just remember I've a temper fucking check ya. I have no agenda, I'm no pretender, and I'll serve it to you straight without the blender. And in the end, I'm gonna send ya on a mission to reveal the true offender. Yeah, so I'll just get right back to work. All right, everybody, talk to you later. Oh, by the way, we had some, let's see, Ted Bundy sent a couple of coffees. Susie Clue sent a coffee. Alex sent a couple coffees. What else we got? I think that's it. There you go. So, anyways, thanks for being here, everybody. We'll see you later. Be safe out there.